river comes, there they return again. All things are full of labor. Man cannot express it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. That which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Tinastilin, Metamorphosis on the rhythm. Reclamation, Metamorphosis, Dr. Iman Blak. On StylzFM 96.1, www.stylzfm.com, 96.7. Yes, heal, greetings. I want to welcome all the listeners again to another edition of the show that engages the mind, engages thought processes, engages the emotions, engages the intellect and the spirit. This is a program that offers you an opportunity to challenge your own mental borders, pushing ideas, what the people would call outside the box. In reality, there is no box. So we need to clarify our thinking process. The program is about the I. It's about identifying, it's about liberating, it's extricating, it's bringing to the fullness the power that generates from within. Because all things operate from within. And the more we look inside for our strength, is the greater the power we can manifest. The more we look outside, is the more we become dependent on outside forces. So the metamorphosis is about transformation, changing state of being from slave to mental master of self. Because until you can conquer the self, then you'll be conquered by those on the outside. You have to kind of rule yourself. And to understand the self now requires a knowledge of your story, meaning your history. You have to understand your own culture. You have to understand principles of behavior, communication. Because ultimately, everybody really wants to live a fairly comfortable life. Secure. And on that note now, I am disturbed. Because on this island, after 50 years of political independence, we are now being terrorized by rapists and murderers. I didn't think I could ever live to see a day like this in Jamaica, where the population is almost traumatized. A couple of months ago, it was all about Tivoli and gunman and crime and thing. The thing has shifted in such a way that it is very, very difficult to comprehend. And for the people who are off the island and read these reports and see them, it's even more difficult to comprehend. But it's right here on the island, we have a deep problem. And the problem is manifested in two words. People, you call it crime, people call it violence. But you see, governance is an important factor in determining the levels of violence that is in a particular place. And we are being governed, particularly at the local level, by a force called the police, at the most local level. And it is a very disturbing level of control and power given to most of the youths who are not the most educated, who become the core of the foot police, and therefore are heavily armed with weapons, but not so heavily armed in intelligence. And so there's a problem in the society with those who are set to govern, those who are governing, those who have been set to protect and to serve. Because the level of violence, serious thing here on this island. What is the solutions we're searching for? How do we deal with these type of behaviors? Are these normal people walking around on 2 feet? Is it the economics that is driving this type of thing? Is it what really are the real problems that rest at the foundation of a society? You see, unemployment is a crucial element. Because unemployment drives a man outside of his morality. Because the basics must be met. And in the 21st century, the basics are met primarily through money. And so the need to secure money is going beyond people's normal way of behaving. It's a desperate situation setting up on the island. And something has to be done to address it. And part of the resolution I'm suggesting is really through freeing up the land that a politically independent country should be able to let its citizens have access to. We need to free up the land, and we also need to encourage the industry that is agriculturally based, called the growing of hemp. Yeah, we have to really look into how to ease the situation more than just simply pointing out the problem, because the problem is becoming more and more gruesome, and it's coming closer to people's homes. So the women are in a uproar now. The women are calling for the death penalty for all rapists. And also the men are at risk now, because not only are the men rapists, we have a society of very promiscuous young girls who put themselves in some very serious positions. And men become victims in a different way. So we're not just beat man, because it is a combination of situations that lead into this type of behavior. So we could try to address it in a holistic way. Let us try to deal with it as African people. Because the identity thing becomes important. Who are we? And why do we behave the way amongst ourselves? On an island with so many churches, with an island with so many religious denominations. What makes this island so barbaric with all of the godliness that we claim that we have? And now that the elections are, now that the Olympics are over, we are seeing a very, very real, crude Jamaica. Yes, very, very crude. People are oppressed. People are unemployed. And part of the resolution of the distress comes through the music. And the solution ultimately rests in the people. And the greatest power in the people is the people's culture. So the more we begin to embrace our black culture, is the more we're going to be able to recognize the need to be civil with each other. Civility to reduce the violence. It begins within the eye. Metamorphosis, StylzFM.
all away, like baggage and brought to the west. That's what my brother now, also my sister too, for a drink of wine so they could drink and be merry, so they could drink and be merry. My sister speaks Swahili. They put us both together now. That's why we can understand. That's why we can understand. We are the slave descendants from the African race. The African race. The African race. We are the slave descendants from the African race. We're proud, it's no disgrace. We're proud of the African race. We're proud, it's no disgrace.
Yeah, Metamorphosis here. Thought of just making a few opening remarks, reflecting on the state of affairs in Jamaica, right here. And suddenly, it doesn't feel as though we're celebrating anything anymore. You know, we're under this illusion that sports creates. Sport is a great distraction. So the Olympics, for 1 month, had us on a high. And now the Olympics are over, we are into our normal state of affairs. And our normal state in Jamaica is not so progressive. So the force that I mentioned earlier now, called the police, I know as a Rastaman seem to be having to have meetings more often of recent times. And what I'm beginning to discern is that it's almost every Rastaman in Jamaica is a suspect. Yeah, it's like every Rastaman is a suspect. And guess what I'm suspected over? That him have ganja upon him. Yeah. So the police force now seem to have this belief that they are now empowered to really stop and search and technically harass every Rastaman. And what do you think them searching for? It's not no guns, you know. It's just ganja. So it's like from you try Rastafari, automatically you're a suspect. And I'm saying within the society now, that is one of the highest levels of discrimination. That's what they call profiling. So every youth who have the uniform on, look at the most eldest of Rastafari and feel empowered to just rush him or her and have him or her almost strip search and taking hat off and look into your ears and look into your person, all in pursuit of trying to find some evidence of ganja. And I'm saying this needs serious addressing as a society, because the police power should not reach that level wherein, because of how you look and what you wear, you are automatically a suspect. It's a very serious thing. And I find that once and once better think about this attitude that the forces have that are there to guide and serve and to protect. Yeah, man, there's a serious amount of discrimination. And we need to look into it if we really want to improve the life on this plantation. Yeah, a lot of this is here. This is not about disrespect. Because in Jamaica, when your man takes him this, it simply means sometimes just disagree. Yeah, him disagree with you. And based upon that, now him say him diss you. And there's a confusion between agreement and respect. A man can also dishonor you. But we begin to look carefully into the disses. Like when you tell a man the truth, him say you diss him. And you're supposed to feel hurt. You're supposed to feel away because you're not supposed to diss nobody. There's a new slang to sort of get man off. It also causes provocation. Because a man bounce it and the man tell you so because you bounce him, you diss him. So if we look into ourselves, look into how we communicate in this plantation, remain conscious of our African identities. Because maybe that is the way we're going to begin to have a different view of each other. So within the metamorphosis, Rastaman is complaining. Rastaman is saying, being a contributor to society is obvious. Rastafari has made a serious input into maintaining tranquility in Jamaica. Peace and love has been the motto. Not much has changed, you know. And every time the society becomes violent, it is the music of Rastafari that the society turns to. Because in the music of Rastafari, there is a philosophy. There's a philosophy of life. There's a philosophy of living. It's about levity. It's about your food. It's about how you rest. Metamorphosis, I word, sound and power, coming forward. But the Rastaman is here to stay.
Them can't kill the Rastaman at all. Them can't kill the Rastaman at all. That's the strangest man I've seen. That's because he's a Rastaman, having the mark of a Nazarene. That's because he's a Rastaman. He carries a prophetical message. That's because he's a Rastaman, warning out of time and out of day. That's because he's a Rastaman. The Rasta come from Zion, Rastaman a lion. Rasta come from Zion, Rastaman a lion. Him Irie, remember Jeremiah children. He was a Rastaman. Or even Isaiah. He was a Rastaman. Moses in the pit of mud. He was a Rastaman. Trotting from Buzz Rock with his garment dipped in blood. He was a Rastaman. Oh, Dre, all I want. The Rastaman from Zion. What a strange, what a dream, what a righteous. The Rastaman from Zion. What a dream, hopeful one. The Rastaman from Zion. What a dream, black, dreadlock one. The Rastaman from Zion. Lightning. 7 years of famine for 7 years of plenty. For one bale of barley, a handful of corn shall be on the hillside. And with that you've got to be satisfied. It was Elijah who prayed that it did not rain. He was a Rastaman. He prayed and the rains came again. He was a Rastaman. It was Joshua who commanded the sun to stand still. He was a Rastaman. He did that according to his master's will. He was a Rastaman. What a dream, all I want. The Rastaman.
It's so hard to understand how this society can be so oppressive. The Rastafari still can't understand it.
The Rastaman come from Zion. What a strange, dreadlock one. The Rastaman come from Zion. Oh, what a dread.
Yeah, Rastaman, the Rastaman is a key element on this plantation. Because the Rastaman has kept the consciousness of Africa alive. And as much as they try to oppress Rastafari, the African consciousness has spread. What is unusual, and strange is that Rastafari in Jamaica is simply manipulated when economic gains are possible. Yes, it has been used, the imagery of Rastafari has been used to promote things like tourism. Because the white people feel that Rastafarians are exotic. And white people love exotic things. Things, not even exotic people, they like exotic things. And so Rastafari has been used and abused in this Jamaican plantation system. Off the island, Rastafari is glorified because Rastafari has been used as a sort of methodology of liberation in places like South Africa and even in places like in Europe, where the chanting and the philosophy has been used to overcome oppressive situations. Because it's kind of perplexing that the police force and the society would simply use the law against ganja to criminalize all Rastafari. Yeah, man, criminalize and abuse and little young boys talking to elderly grown men, searching them up, looking for seeds. Yeah, serious thing going on in Jamaica. And at the same time, a lot of the men in high places are drunk. And in their liquor state, they feel that they are legally correct. But there's also a moral order. And in the level of morality, it is incorrect. So liquor is legally acquired, but I'm saying it is an immoral type of drug. It's not a progressive, constructive thing to be promoting in the society. So more emphasis should be put on searching to find man with rum buckle. Yeah, we should put a greater emphasis. But you see, we can't do it because the hypocrisy of those who make and sell these products and the money-making side of it, that they tell you now to use these products responsibly. But they will arrest you out of suspicion that you have a seed of herb on you. This is a serious double standard. It's an oppressive situation on the island, and it needs to be addressed. So as we move into this 50th year, talking about becoming a republic and all this political talk, we better resolve the issues at the cultural level. The discrimination and this plantation that continues against one of the forces that bring money to the country, that bring respect, that bring cultural knowledge. Yeah, respect is due. I word, sound, and power.
StylzFM 96.1.
I find it strange that those who embrace Christianity do not look like Jesus the Christ. And yet Rastaman, it is the Rastaman who carries the image of the Nazarene. So why do Rastas look like Jesus? Christians have bald heads. Someone tell me, please.
We've been down in poverty, oh so long, yeah. We've been down in captivity much too long. We've been down in humility and oh so long. So rise and shine and win your liberation.
word, sound, and power on the metamorphosis. Looking into the power of word, sound, and the power of the eye. Yeah, Bonnie Whaler, haunting sounds, living whaler, the only living whaler. Rastaman, longevity. They gave Peter Touch an order of merit, and yet Rastaman still can't burn a cliff. Peter Touch wouldn't take that. Yeah, Peter would have said them to hold on to that. You know, old vampire.
Rise and shine, and with your liberations, for now's the time when all nations must be free.
StylzFM 96.1.
Yeah, we're looking at the I word, sound, and power. And I'm really going to respond now to an email that I got from one of my persons who check me on StylzFM.com and also email me at, what is it, I'm on Blak at StylzFM. Yes, that's where you get me. Benny wanted to know about how do you discern between information and misinformation. A couple of days now, I'm sort of trying to penetrate the system of thought to provide a certain response, you know. And really, we're looking at the two terms now, information versus misinformation. The word information, you know, is really, we can look at it in two sections. We can look at in, and we can look at formation. And so we can say, we can express it in two different terms. We can say in formation. Now, what is it that is in formation? It is really data now. What we're calling data is sensations that come to us through our sense organs. It is from this basis now we're going to gather information. We're going to gather data and we're going to put it in a certain formation. And in that formation we get a certain understanding. So the data that we all draw upon is what comes through our senses. But here is where the problem rests. Because the education system in most of the Western societies and on the plantation itself inform the African people that they only have 5 senses. So these 5 senses now, we are told we must use these 5 senses to gather data, sensations. And out of those sensations now, we must process them and generate, let's call it, for lack of another word, call it knowledge. No, the sensations, our sense organs now, as black people, we have to begin to interrogate and explore our own sense organs. What is it that we are using to gather data? So the education system tells us that we have these 5 senses, physical senses. When we explore them one by one quickly, we get an idea of how we gather what we call sensation. How do we build up data information? The eyes, for example. We are told that seeing is believing. Now, what does that really mean? And what is it to believe? Because believing is still not knowing. That means that what you see doesn't mean is that you know. Check it out, you know. Seeing is believing. And oftentimes, when you do the real exploration at the practical level, the biggest sense organ of deception is the eyes. In other words, now, it creates the most illusions, optical illusions. So we are driving in the car and we look down the road and we see steam coming onto the road. And when we get there, there is no steam. There are a lot of imageries that prove that we can have optical illusions. So the eyes are not really necessarily the best sense to put all our confidence in. This is part of the whole drama about seeing. A man can move his hands quicker than even your eyes can see. Sleight of hand. So we can put all our confidence then in the sense of sight. But the education system tells us that the only way we can believe something is to see it. Now, what about the other sense organs? There is the nose. And you notice that when you smell something, you can't say you don't smell it. It's a very real sense. It's a very highly developed sense, particularly at the insect level. Very important sense. In the African on this plantation, it has almost been, we're not using it at a level that we would use it in our natural environment. The same thing for the ears. Hearing. You can hear things that are not even there. So the senses that we have, that when we look at them at individual levels, the eyes, the nose, the ears, the tongue, because with the tongue we taste. And sometimes we can taste things that are different. People don't have the same taste because of how the taste buds operate. So when we explore the senses, between the eyes, the nose, the ears, and the tongue, those are 4 senses. With the eyes we see, the nose we smell, ears we hear, and with the tongue we taste. Here's another sense now. This is the sense of feeling. Now, which sense organ do black people feel with? What is our organ of sensation of feeling? How do we gather data about our feeling? And when you explore the body of the African, of the black man, his organ that generates, gives him a sense of feeling is really his skin. So the skin gives us a sense of feeling, and at the same time, feeling operates on 2 levels. There's physical feeling, and there is emotional feeling. And I'm saying to the item now, that within the black people, within the skin of black people, is a sense organ that allows us to experience physical feeling and also psychological and emotional feeling. So within that realm of feeling, with that realm of expression, we can see that data can be drawn from that dimension within the African context. So when we talk about using our senses, we haven't even spoken about the most critical sense. It is ignored. It is the sense of thinking. And the organ that we use for our sense of thinking is the brain. So we have more than 5 physical senses. We have a 6th sense. It's a sense of thought. It's a sense of thinking. It's a sense of creativity through using the mind. And it's that level now we have to begin to reach before we can discern information from what is really misinformation. How you organize your data, how you put it in formation, helps to define your overstanding. If the data is put in a formation that makes you misunderstand the formation of the data leads you to false conclusions. Misinformation actually is a methodology used by those who are oppressive. So they also have access to data. But in putting the data in a particular formation, the information is deceptive and leads one to false conclusions. But the way to come to the knowledge of what is and what is not, it's important to develop the sense of thought. Because thought gives you the capacity to really discern. Yeah, thought is the power, you know. Thought is the real power of man. Thought power. It is thought that moves mountains, not faith. Thought. Thought moves mountains. In ancient culture, Africans had a god of thought. His name was Thoth, T-H-O-T-H, the god of thought. The most important power within man is the power of thought. And so unless you develop the organ of thinking, which is the brain, then the power of thought is diminished. So we have to resurrect within ourselves our thinking power. Resurrect the sixth sense. Yeah, it's all within I and I, you know. A capacity to liberate and uplift. But sometimes it requires a bit of knowledge. So you see, within thought, thought is such a force within man. That thought is generated through waves. Yes, we generate thought waves. And what is the organ doing the generation of these waves? Is really the brain. So we generate thought waves, and these waves leave our brain the same way the waves would leave a radio station. And the waves travel through what is called the ether, E-T-H-E-R. Yes, it's a dimension that is not physical, because thought is not physical. And so the thoughts travel through the ether. This ether comes in almost like an ocean. And so the waves of one brain can be sent outwards. And the vibration of those waves can be communicated to another brain. So we have these powers of communication through thought. Thought power. It requires a bit of silence and meditation to bring thought into activity. So if you remain busy, and if you remain loud and noisy, it's difficult to come into communication with that power of thought. Thought moves mountains. Thought builds the pyramids. The ancient Egyptians have the god of thought. And the Egyptians also had what they call the writings of the gods. So it's for I and I to reclaim these powers, redevelop our consciousness, come to the knowledge of thought. Because thought is the power. And Africans are being blessed with the powers of thought. It's through the powers of thought that the engineers could put a twist and a bend in the River Nile. It is through the power of thought that the pyramids were created. And it's through the power of thought even I and I manifest myself in reincarnated formation. Thought is the power. It's for us to generate and recognize the brain, the waves that are manifested from thought, and at a deeper level, the waves that are manifested through feelings. Metamorphosis. So thought moves in waves, and feelings move in waves. We experience waves of thought. We experience waves of feeling. These are real motions of energy, sometimes called emotions, motions of energy, varying from A to E, like the musical scale. So there are A motions, and there are B motions. There are C motions, and there are D motions. And of course, there are E motions, very low level of motions. Then there's F and G. Just like the musical scale, levels of motions of energy. And so within I and I, we have the capacity to generate waves, thought waves. And these waves emanate from the brain and they go out into the universe. And they connect and they impact on the thought centers of other persons. So you have to be careful what you meditate, because thought is power. And that's why when people gather together in one space and generate the same type of thoughts, when they leave the building, there's an atmosphere that is created by those thoughts. Yeah, man, a thought atmosphere. It happens in churches. It happens in football arenas. It happens in certain spaces where there's an atmosphere that is created by the thoughts of the people who visit that spot often and hold the same type of meditation. So it's a reality that we, the black people, must reclaim. That thoughts not only manifest through waves, but they're also feeling that manifest as waves through the skin. Yeah, man, we release waves of feeling through our skin, so we can communicate at that level. What we have to do is remember ourselves through the metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, Dr. Iman Blak, StylzFM, 96.1, 96.7, www.stylzfm.com. Real Jatalk Show. Hail up to Portland! Hail Port Antonio! Metamorphosis on your radio. Yeah, this is Africa and World Affairs, our story on the metamorphosis. We will look at our relationship to Africa, and we maintain that this is a staple within the presentation, reminding all black people of the relationship they have with Africa. Why is necessary? Somehow we have been disconnected and been made to feel ashamed of being called Africans. So we have to remind ourselves consistently of our own glory. From our perspective, so there's this mighty continent called Africa. We have also been told that there's another continent called Asia. And these two great continents, we have been told, are somehow distinct from each other. What does our story tell us? It tells us that the land masses of both Asia and Africa are one land mass. So there's no Asia separate from any continent called Africa. The entire connection of land is one land mass. In other words, the land has been demarked by European forces. In the same way Africa was carved up to end up having places like Nigeria and Ghana. The same way the cartographers have skillfully separated Africa from Asia. And in that separation, they've created a split in the identity of the black people. Because there are black people now who are in Asia who thinks that they are not African people. Yeah, so it's a split in the identity, not recognizing that all the persons, both in Asia and in Africa, have the one thing in common. It is their blackness. So we have to be very careful about how we begin to shrink Africa. That even on the map, sometimes they draw Africa looking so small, and they make North America look so big, and they make Australia, which is the smallest piece of land called a continent, they make Australia look so big on the map. So those who draw the maps have a great amount of influence on how we perceive Africa. But as Maragina would tell us in the song, there is Africa East, West, North, South, Central, and there's the Horn of Africa. It's a very, very massive, massive place. And of course, when we look at Mesopotamia and places like Iraq, those places are Africa. All that continent, the whole continent, is one place. But the Europeans have skillfully sliced up the world and created divisions, because divide and rule has been a staple and a principle for war. And the Europeans have always been basically at war with themselves, at war against nature, and at war against all peoples of other cultures. So I and I, in this point in time, have to keep speaking about the resources. What are the real resources of the black continent? And the first resource of any place must be the people. And so the people of the black continent have been used by other groups as labor force, cheap labor force to build their own empires and their civilizations. The leaders of Africa, of these African nations, often these leaders lose the consciousness of what it is to be an African and take on the identity of the Europeans. And they try to live the life that is manifested in Europe and maintain aristocratic separation and classisms, and the people still are oppressed. But ultimately, the resource is in the people. There's also resources in the naturality of the place, like in the rivers, the mountains, and critically, the minerals. It is the minerals that all other nations try to get out of Africa. The people, yes, but the minerals, the resources that are under the ground. So if we don't claim Africa as a people, if we don't reclaim Africa as our homeland, then the minerals, the resources will continue to be drained out of the country, out of the continent. The real potential for black redemption rests upon the black people outside of Africa maintaining the claim that Africa is the homeland. And once we begin to fulfill that identity and that consciousness, then ultimately, the resources that we gather in the West will be rechanneled into Africa. Yes, because the Majesty tells us that we must take our knowledge that we gather in the West and return to the continent for its own upliftment. That should be the vision. But instead, we are focused on taking our skills to North America. We are focused on taking our skills to Europe. And yet, we have our homeland. Our homeland. The Chinese who was born in Jamaica and born in the Western world doesn't know China physically, but he recognized his ancestral homeland. It is time that the black people make that claim for Africa, East, West, North, South, Central, and the Horn.
This is StylzFM.
Black my story. From education to civilization. From astrology straight to biology. Black my story. Black my story. Not his story. Black my story. African glory. African glory. What we want to see is African liberty. From Marrakesh to Egypt, we go the Oro. From Cape Town to Addis Ababa and Congo. African glory. African glory. What we want to see. African liberty. Give it to me.
StylzFM 96.1.
Oh, black my story. Black my story. No, no. How are you doing, Mama? Mama Africa. Long time no see you, Mama. You took me away from you, Mama. Long before I was born. You took me away from you, Mama. Long before I came on, and I said, Mama Africa. How are you doing, Mama? Mama long time I see you, Mama. Hear so many things about you. Wondering where you are. They try their best to hide you, Mama, but I search and I find you, Mama Africa. How are you doing, my mama?
Yeah, we're always celebrating Mama Africa. And I was wondering who really is the father, since Africa is the mama. And when I did my own searching, I realized that the father must be Atlantis. So Africa is the mama, Atlantis is the papa. Yeah, we're ancient as a people. And you know the thing about Africa, the continent that we know, it has so many global features that are so outstanding. When I was going to school as a little youth, they always talk about the 7 wonders of the world. Yes, and we have to memorize these things by heart. What were the 7 wonders of the world? But I don't know whether this one was one of them or not, you know, but as far as I'm concerned, the River Nile, the longest river on the planet Earth, is in Africa. Yeah, the longest river. To the point wherein the mountains in which it starts, they can't even find the start. Maybe it starts all up in the clouds. Yeah. But they can't find the start of the Great River Nile. And the River Nile is one of the few rivers that flow from south to north. defying what the Europeans tell us about water, about the south being down and the north being up. And so the River Nile also gives us the civilization of African people that developed along the River Nile. And along the banks of the River Nile develop a great black culture. And we're always embracing and reflecting and reclaiming that black culture that developed on the River Nile. This is what should be taught in our schools more often than rather the knowledge about the wars that took place in Europe and the rivers of South America and the rivers of the United States. The River Nile, important. We only get a glimpse of the River Nile through the Christian interpretation of the Bible. And in that version, we see the River Nile in Egypt. And we are introduced to the River Nile by some infant being put on the River Nile and sent down the River Nile. We're not told about the greatness of the black culture that developed along the River Nile. We are told that the pharaohs who lived along the River Nile are actually our enemies. Yeah, this is what the Bible impresses on the mind of black people. That it is Pharaoh that is evil. And the goodness comes out now of the character that is called Moses. So we're looking at Africa, and Africa and world affairs and our story. Our story is a complex one. And many people have taken aspects of our story and tried to confuse us. Misinformation. So we have the River Nile. And there's also the great desert called the Sahara. And the records of the geologists and the people who study Earth, its history, tells us that the Sahara was actually an ocean. So the greatness of the continent continues. And the more we know about Africa, is the more we feel empowered to reclaim it. So there are deserts, there are rivers, there are mountains, there are the minerals, there are the people. These are the resources of Africa. And the African people must become conscious enough to begin to claim these resources. And before we claim the natural resources that are in the land, we have to claim the resource that is ourself. We have to claim our own I. We have to claim the blackness of our identity. And once you embrace that to the fullness, then the land will naturally follow. I tell the ones, there are Chinese and Indian people who are born in this island of Jamaica, who neither speak the language of the Chinese or the Indian. They have never been to those countries. But if you ask them, what is their identity? There is no doubt. There is no hesitation. There is no hyphenation. It's all about being Indian, being Oriental, being black, African. Metamorphosis. Looking at Africa in world affairs, our story, the resources.
Creation.
Yeah, so when your people ready to move, you have to know whether they're going north, south, east, west, or central. Return to the Red Sea, into North Africa, into the golden age of Africa. Yes, we have to return to that Red Sea crossing to reconnect with our African identities. Yes. You're going to Africa. Where are you going? East, west, north, south, central, or the Horn? You have to have your consciousness. Yes, there's no illusions of escaping into Africa. The reality is a real place. The movements of black people consciously. Away from the Eurocentric perceptions of self. Mental repatriation. It's a movement of the black mind. Movement of Jamine. Africa awaited creator. It's a movement of the mind from the plantation to the empire of Africa. Embracing the I unapologetically, the black eye, the eye of consciousness. No color. No gender. Yes, you know, the identity issues are crucial, important. Because you have to be able to answer to yourself, you know, who am I? And if you can't answer who am I, you have to be able to answer what am I? And within the who and the what, there must be a foundation. There must be a where all of this comes from and where all of this is based. And the where is answered by land. Where? And the land that we know is a continent. And the continent is a vast continent. Oftentimes diminished, often called the dark continent. But it's the continent of consciousness, it's a continent of resource. It is what feeds the earth. And from that continent comes forth all knowledge. So the people who are natural to that place do not feel ashamed of embracing the identity of being black and of being African. Yes, Mama Africa and Father Atlantis, ancient history, ancient culture. Metamorphosis, StylzFM. I'm on Blak. I want to hear that Kasha Blak. Yo, my brethren, world citizens, love the tune.
And then I take a stop. I had to run like a fugitive to save the life I live. I'm gonna be iron like a lion in Zion. I'm gonna be iron like a lion in Zion. Iron, lion, Zion. I'm on the run, but I ain't got no gun. See, they want to be the star, so they fight in tribal war, and they say iron like a lion in Zion. Iron like a lion in Zion. Iron, lion, Zion. I'm on the rock. Till your papa take a stop. Running like a fugitive. I have to run like a fugitive. Go. Just to save the life I live. Oh, now I'm gonna be iron like a lion in Zion. I'm gonna be iron like a lion in Zion. Iron, lion, Zion. Iron, lion, Zion. Iron, lion, Zion. Iron like a lion in Zion. Iron like a lion in Zion. Iron like a lion in Zion. Iron, lion, Zion. Iron like a lion in Zion. Iron like a lion in Zion.
Yeah, Metamorphosis coming to you from StylzFM. We're about to segue into another segment. This segment we're calling it Deconstruction Period. Here we sort of re-examine mythologies and fables and nursery rhymes and riddles and cliches. Things them that impact our young minds that as we become adults, we oftentimes don't even recall, nor review, nor re-examine what some of those teachings and ideas have been. Now, within the deconstruction section, the mythologies have governed our lives as black people. Fables, literature of English, and the book, of course, that maintains most of the literature is the King James Version of the Holy Bible. And normally in the Metamorphosis, we say people should have their maps and their dictionaries and their Bibles and their pens and their paper at close hand, because these become the tools of our analysis, tools of our liberation. Now, I am very troubled, of course, with this book of Genesis that has been given to us as the book that explains the beginning of the world. But you notice that book of Genesis, it has quite a few, what you call, chapters. A lot of chapters in the book of Genesis. As a matter of fact, it has about 50 chapters. And so when you examine the book from a perspective of the number of chapters, certainly it goes way beyond the quote-unquote the Genesis. Because the Genesis ought to really have meant the creation of man and the earth and the plants, etc., etc. If that was the case, then Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2 would have been, and maybe chapter 3 would have been sufficient to justify a creation story. But instead, when you reach chapter 6, we begin to hear now that it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born to them. Now I want my listeners to be very careful how they read this book again. Because here we are now in a Genesis, the book of the Genesis, and telling us about when men began to multiply on the face of the earth. Now we don't know who these men are. We know nothing about their racial makeup. We don't know where they are on the earth. But we have been given a story now of how the earth is going to be populated. We have to re-examine this because there is no real evidence that's going to present us with a view that sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves for all whom they chose. Who are the sons of God? And who are the daughters of men? We're having issues here because suddenly there is a God who has some sons, and then there are daughters who belong to men. So we get the impression that on the earth now there are gods and there are men. And there are sons of gods and there are men. Who are these different people that we are being told that are now multiplying and being replenished on the earth? This is not really the genesis then of black people. This can't be the genesis of the Chinese. Who are these people that we are being told that are beginning to multiply on the face of the earth? Where is the African people? And if life began in Africa, why isn't it not the African people who are multiplying and replenishing the earth? But when you continue to read the Genesis in chapter 6, verse 3, it tells you that the Lord said, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. And that there were giants on the earth in those days." So, you see, when we're looking for African history and black people history, where are we in this? Who are the giants? Is it that the black people were the giants? And that they used to live to 120 years? So how come today now man only living to 35 and 40 years? So we read the book, and this book they give it to us as the Genesis. And I as a black man must find my Genesis in this story. And Genesis chapter 6 continues, verse 5, that the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the vital line in verse 6 says, "And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And so the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping things, and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them." This is the book of Genesis. This is the Lord confessing that he is sorry that he made man. Well, I don't know. Tell me. Tell me. Is he talking about black people? Is it the creation of black people that we're speaking about? Is it and we are the Chinese? That Lord God is now vexed and decided to create mass murder and wipe out everything, leaving, of course, only one man and his family and his children. Think about it. Is this really our Genesis? Is this really the genesis of black people? for review. Was review this literature as presented in the King James Version of the Bible. And the story continues further now, that Lord God in his vexation wipes out the earth and leaves one man. And with that one man is his 3 sons. And with those 3 sons, there are 4 women. And here we are now, African people, black people, being convinced now that in the book of Genesis, we are being told that we are coming forward now. We are going to be rebirthed through a man called Noah. Because Noah is going to be the only person being saved. And when Noah is saved from the destruction, it is his son, Ham, who is projected as the first. And it's going to be the new Genesis, the new beginning of black people. And that all African people now will now claim descendants from Ham. This is what we have been told in the King James Version. This is what we are told in the book of Genesis. And in the book of Genesis, chapter 10, we are told about the sons of Ham. And that there were sons, according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands and in their nation. And that children are also born to Shem. And that children are also born to the other son, Japheth. And all of these nations and families had their own languages. And then guess what happened now? All of a sudden, in chapter 11, the whole world had one language, one speech. All of a sudden, you know. All of a sudden, all the sons of Ham who had their own languages and had their lands and their nations, and all the sons of Japheth and their lands and their nations and their languages. Now we are told in chapter 11 that the whole earth had one language and one speech. What are we to believe? What must we know? Is it that all Africans spoke one language? We know that's not true. But the story continues because I get to that bit now. Lord God decided that, look, the people, them two united. And they begin to build skyscrapers. And they're trying to get up into heaven. Lord God said, indeed, the people are one. And they have one language. And this is what they begin to do. God said, let us go down and confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Now, how do we reconcile this now? After hearing that the sons of Noah had all these various languages, then we hear that there's only one language. And then now we hear that Lord God decided to come down and confuse the world. Confuse their language. And so he can scatter them all about the world. I am saying, black people, can't we find a different, more conscious way of explaining and understanding the different languages in the world? Can we not be conscious enough to recognize that all black people, the millions of black people, could not have emerged from a mythical son called Ham? So you see the Genesis? It's a confusing book, considering that it has 40 chapters. And it goes beyond the genesis of just the first man and the first woman, and begin to speak about multiplication and populations. And within that context, African people, the black people, we must be able to recognize where we are. Do we fit into the story? Or is the story part of the entrapment that is, let us say, a remnant of the teachings of the King James Version of our story? Metamorphosis, StylzFM, deconstructing the myths and the fables, the nursery rhymes, the cliches.
mystical communication within. We keep on coming together. I love to see brothers and sisters looking out for one another. That's the way it should be, not contrary. Stop tearing down each other. Only Rasta free the people. Over hills and valleys too. Don't let them fool you. Don't believe 1 minute that they are with you. Jah free the people. Over hills and valleys too. Don't let them fool you. Don't believe for a minute that they are with you. Our drugs won't do. You just behaving like they want you to, yeah. I say arrogance is much different from ignorance, and I know you feel the same way too. Many live this life without having a clue. No reason why they are so sad and blue. Blessings to go, so much things to do. Not a moment to reflect on the cycle of life, yeah. To free the people over hills and valleys too. Don't let them fool you. Don't believe for a minute that they are with you. Jah free the people over hills and valleys too. Don't let them fool you. Don't believe 1 minute they don't like you. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard.
Yeah, entering the studios of the Metamorphosis, the man Wulde Makonnen, who will be here until the rest of the program to engage our thoughts and our feelings about things that are relevant to our liberation. Yeah.
I know you're out there somewhere having fun. There is one mystery I just can't express. To give your more, to receive your less. One of my good friends said in a reggae rhythm, don't jump in the water if you can't swim. The power of philosophy flows through my head, light like a feather, heavy-handed, light like a feather.
Yes, we want to bring into the studio here, Living Red, Green and Gold. This is Metamorphosis, Dr. Iman Blak, and sitting next to I and I now is the man Makonnen. Makonnen, Ill, welcome
Sir.
again to the Metamorphosis, my brother.
Give thanks, Rasta man.
Yeah, we're looking into all sort of things that can assist us in our upliftment. We're looking into things that are prescriptive because the problems are continually great as we deal with this, what do I call it, land of slavery?
Truthfully.
Yes, and this plantocracy. How do we resolve some of the things that become crises? And part of it, of course, is in the philosophy. And earlier, before the I step in, I was engaging in the book that embraces us a lot, this King James Version. And in that version, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of philosophy about Genesis, the philosophy of origin. So, them say we come out of Noah flood, and say we come out of Ham, and that we are Hamitic people, and we are also blighted because of our blackness, because such is the color of the devil. Philosophy. Yes, Mark, how shake off them kind of chains.
Well, Iman would declare that it is a very, very difficult prospect in terms of shaking off those philosophies, because that is what we know as a people. That is what has been ingrained in our psyche from the very beginning when they first brought us here. The process was to return us to a state of tabula rasa, blank slate. That was the first thing that they did. After having accomplished the task of taking away language, culture, and history, and we are now at blank slate, they proceeded to tell us about this Hamitic foolishness.
This can't call the people them thing foolishness.
Well, that is what I have done, my brother. Because, you see, once the people reach the stage where I and I reach, then immediately them would have say is foolishness. But right now, some of them, when them hear I declare the story of Ham to be foolishness, it's like it curdle in them brain and them say that I perform a blasphemy.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing when you perform a blasphemy? Maybe by now it should be a good thing, you know.
Well, I declare it to be so. Because you see, what it means is that I free myself.
Aye.
Just like the music a while ago.
Yeah.
I free myself from them history and from them culture. I am no more bounded by the book that is edited by the scholars who were commissioned by King James.
Serious thing.
I am a man free to express myself outside of those boundaries. The whole Genesis story, it have its relevance inside of Judaism. And those people who choose to follow that prescription.
What about the people who tell you that, boy, it's just two kind of people, making Jews and Gentiles, and it's just one or the other?
Well, if I was a Gentile, or if I was a Jew, then I could have subscribed to that.
So that is not a Jew?
No, my brother. I heart is not a Jew.
You have enough ones and ones who maintain that they're not only Jews, but that they're Hebrews. How that work out now? How can we be Hebrews and Jews and Gentiles? So, when we're going to be black people again and those Africans?
All right. You see, the thing is, you know, like I man say, from the time them bring I and I come here so, and them declare Africa and all things Africa to be non grata. Consequently, it have no more relevance. That is how come we come take up them philosophy here. For there was nothing left. I and I, in order to become African, to claim I and I Africanness, then I and I would have to go forward into I and I history and take it back. Anything else will never be good enough, because look here. How can a black man coming out of Africa declare himself to be a Jew, declare himself to be a Gentile? A Gentile, you know, remember, is antithesis according to the philosophy of Judaism. He will never be able to take place in the salvation epic.
At all.
No.
Yeah.
He is a man on the outside looking in. In fact, what he is outcast.
Early.
Yes.
Yeah. Metamorphosis. There is a book in my hand called From the Broader Files by Anthony T. Broder. And he's suggesting through artwork that we should become born again African.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, born again.
You
going on, my people? What's going on? This is Afrocentric Views on NEWS, on the Metamorphosis. Of course, news is really information from the north, the east, the west, and the south. NEWS. So we got news. And so within the Metamorphosis now, data is collected and it is presented in a formation that will project positivity and insights that lead to upliftment in your comprehension. Yeah, words. Words. English. We have to struggle with this language to get comprehension. But in the world of news now, there is a build-up taking place in Syria and Iran that will have serious implications for us here on this island. Now, Syria has been under war for about 18 months, and that ruler Assad has been persistent in his attitude of not surrendering. In other words, unlike what happened in Libya and Ethiopia and Egypt and Tunisia, Assad is unwilling to step aside. But at the same time, you know, Syria is a politically delicate spot. It has no real economic resources, but politically it's in a strategic area. Now, because of the struggle in Syria, Turkey, which is a neighbor, were a couple of days ago bombed, what they say, accidentally by the Syrians, which allowed Turkey now to launch a certain invasion in Turkey on the Syrians. So the Syrians and the Turks are now at odds. The Syrians are at odds with themselves, and the Syrians are at odds with the European Union and the United Nations, and military intervention is on the horizon. And with all of that, Israel is insisting that Iran must be attacked because Iran is 7 months away from creating a nuclear bomb. Now, you see, we here in Jamaica, all that look far away now. But it's true, we are an economy that is dependent on oil and a society who knows not about conservation. In a society where a man driving car that is paying more gas than what some people eating for a week that going to fame gas in them car. In other words, then more money spending upon the gas fame car than what some people can eat for the week. That's so Jamaica run. And so we are locked into this oil syndrome. So you see when anything kick off in that region and the oil price shoot up, I tell you the item, you know, there's grief on this island. And at the same time, we are blessed with the sun. And we are blessed with great brains. And yet we're not tapping into the technology that is solar. Yeah, we're still insisting on being murdered by JPS and these other forces that demand that we pay a great amount of money for the energy that is oil. So we're going to watch what's happening consistently. And as the American elections now draw closer, all these things becoming more critical because the American election now, you know, is central to the whole earth. Because influence of America is so great that what happens politically, domestically, influences the rest of the world. Makonnen, the man them fighting for power in America again. These two tribes, Democrats and Republicans, one being led by a man who them say is not black, but his wife is very black with very black children. And there's other man named Carl Romney who claims that 47% of the population of America are leeches. Does that make any difference whether who win or lose today, or is everything the same?
No, everything would not be the same because the two men who are presently locked in the struggle are from two different backgrounds. No, I should correct myself. It's not two different backgrounds because you see, philosophically,
yeah,
Mr. Obama follow the political guidelines of the American society to the T. If, for example, I never see an image of Mr. Obama I would not know that this man is a man of color.
Why is that?
For philosophically, the man is like the man is a white man.
Okay.
For his philosophy his philosophy and history is totally entwined into the American fabric in the same way that Mr. Romney philosophy is. So there is little or no difference between the both of them. At the drop of a pin, either of both of these two men will bomb Syria, will bomb Afghanistan, and they will bomb Jamaica if necessary.
Necessary.
You see, so and I said at the drop of a pin, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking the eye or no one a question concerning that statement. Philosophically, if either one of them have a reason to, whoever them have the reason against is going to be on the other end of a bomb.
Of violence. Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe what I'm saying is that since it really don't really matter at a certain level who is the president, then, right? Because the philosophy is consistent.
Yes.
It means then that there are some other forces in that really running America that has nothing to do with even the president himself then.
You see, America is a process in motion. America is not as simple as many people would take it. Mr. Obama or Mr. Romney is simply taking a seat on a ship that is presently going in a particular direction. They will now become the captain of that ship, but the ship in fact is already in motion.
No, you see the man who designed the chart, the man who designed the navigators now, the unseen forces that deciding the direction of the craft and the point of destination where they must stop and start. Those people know that force in America. Some people call it simply the military industrial complex, like the Pentagon.
Yes.
That these are the agencies that really and truly define the philosophy of America.
And those persons who understand the concept that the eye has just articulated, they are correct. You know, historically, for us, the black people, it is a wonderful experience to see Mr. Obama
In the house.
in the White House, and also Mrs. Obama and the two little
black
pretty
children
black girls
running around in the White House.
running around in the White House.
Hopefully not getting too white.
You see, for I and I, the black people,
Yes.
that would have come in like is a boost of great ego, importance.
And eagers.
Yes, I.
Yes.
But you see, apart from that,
Yeah.
we at the present moment cannot expect that because there's a black man and a black woman at the highest heights of European seated, that situation would make us now free.
At the plantation level.
No, the plantation.
That can't be.
It would have just come in like say, Mr. Obama would have be Bucky Master now, and get the whip from Bucky Master. I think that in him heart, you know, him would have like to reach down and say, here, and know what you're going through. But the whole truth is still a flash, you know.
And you know, it sounds like the man in our parliament too, you know. When them go in, you know, and realize how the things set up, you know. Them start about we and them.
A true man.
In them can't do nothing about nothing.
Because you see, for the first moment, initially, sometime all when the politics are going on, you know, the man them have an honest desire
True,
to
true.
even do certain
something,
things,
yes.
like for example, free the land.
Yeah.
But when the time come, the first thing them have to do is swear to the queen,
Then no.
her heirs and all of our
Alright, so then
successors.
nothing left for the people.
And them themselves now become the servant of the queen, doing her will.
And making sure that for them generation, all right.
Well, definitely, because that is what the politics end up as.
I mean, I tell you, news and views. on the Metamorphosis.
Skies go. Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Oil wasted on the oceans and upon our seas. Fish full of mercury. Mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Radiation underground and in the sky. Animals and birds who live nearby are dying. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be.
We're still here reflecting on we're still here reflecting on our new section. This is only new section that plays music in the background. Yes, and the news is continues from the Afrocentric view. So Nakadin, that's about the struggle. What is the base fundamental struggle in America now between these two men?
Fundamentally, the struggle is for white America to wrest the power base out of the hands of this colored man, this man who is neither white nor black. His mother being a European and his father an African.
I hear, got you.
Yes. So the whole idea is that it is an impossible scenario to have a black man, and even worst of all, to have a black woman, Michelle Obama, parading and walking so proudly African in the White House and on top of American culture. Remember, you know, that scenario historically is an anomaly. It is abnormal. The lily white European philosophy does not accommodate it.
At all.
Consequently, the struggle at the moment is to get them out at all costs. But you see, in terms of how the politics is going, the average man is not seeing that it is a at all cost struggle.
Right.
Because the struggle is being conducted at the highest level of diplomacy. So Mr. Romney is not going all out and say, make we get the nigger out of the White House.
Can't say that yet.
No, he can't say that. But you have some...
carrying the sentiment.
Exactly.
Carrying that sentiment.
Because you see, even that statement about the 27%.
Yeah, the 47% who are leeches.
Exactly. Don't make the mistake of not thinking that I and I, the black people, is numbered among those
because
people.
Because out of that 47%, 90% of them probably will be black people I'm talking about.
Full stop. You know? At least non-European people.
Right.
Because
they are the Hispanics who don't necessarily claim that they are black.
There you go.
So other groups there.
So what you're going to find that America, based on the racial mix presently, would still be more white and white sympathetic than black and black sympathetic. Consequently, at the end of this electoral race, once Mr. Obama is victorious, a message will be sent to white America, and it is a message that they will not take lightly.
Right. Well, I'm saying no. You see, the racial divide that is America, that in Obama, there are white women who gravitate to him because his mother was white.
And that is absolutely correct.
And there are wealthy white people who think that Obama saved them during the fallout with the Wall Street and the bankers and him prop up the bankers. So there are a lot of white people who, just like Bob Marley, you know, them don't say the black mother, them say the white English father.
Well said, my brother.
You
Well
know,
said.
And they claiming this aspect of the man or the person. And so the struggle, you know, we can't escape the thing, you know. It's in this world, race. It's a race. It's a game we play if we try to go around it. And that's why when Garvey spoke about race first, everybody rise up against him because him hit the nail right on the head. Race first. That's what the Chinese practice. That's what the Caucasian humans practice. That's what the Indian practice. And I'm saying black people need to practice
Absolutely.
race first.
They need to begin that practice and begin it urgently.
Like yesterday.
Yes, I.
Well, is Jamaica back against the wall? Local news. Rape and murder terrorizing our society, Makonnen. From all the time I've been living on this rock, and I know myself and this place for within the same 50 years of celebration of independence, never before have I seen so much barbarity and depravity being exhibited on this island. You know, a couple months ago, we were going through the period of beheadings. That was the thing. And then recently now, we started engage police and pregnant women. And now we reach a level now of rape and murder of children under 8 years old and attacking houses. And remember, is what I go on, my brother? What really going on, brother?
There's a phenomena called the chickens must come home to roost. Still, I, man, have to be careful how I say that. But you see, I and I, the black people, the journey that brought us here, and in the initial stages of our historical development in the land of slavery, it was a brutal time. It was marked by mayhem, murder, rape, beheading, befooting, behanding. You see, that was the time when the white man could have raped any black woman, free will.
Anytime, anywhere.
Anytime, anywhere, free will.
No penalties.
Absolutely no penalty. Come on. Then as we trod along during the journey, how much black man head did get cut off? How much black woman head and foot did get cut off and hand? And then we move forward to the metamorphosis, and we find that the bloody scenario never ease up.
Sorry.
When the time came and I little children, black children growing up, the first thing that them put in I hand when them wanted us to play was a tie gun. The tie gun grew up and I begin to shoot one another. Now I begin to rape one another. And then people turn around and looking and saying,
How this thing come from? Where it come from?
Where it come from? How come we are shoot one another like that?
Yeah.
Then another thing, you see the show them where them show from television and in the movie theater.
Hey,
When
hold
you-
on.
Yes, I.
I know those, you know what I find as a serious source of violence in this country? You look at them when them sit on the sidewalk, you know. What you call them?
The games thing them.
No, man. Some, like a DVD,
Seeing.
which is pure violence.
Yes, yes, man.
Me tell you,
Then that's what I mean when I say the chickens must come home to roost.
Them
Plant a seed of
Serious.
hatred,
power of thought
and the seed grow big.
grow into a giant tree.
And right at this stage now, it is the stage of rape and pillage
Yeah.
and murder, and everybody's in a state of shock. But if you look back at the setting up for this stage, it is not difficult to understand that the situation will even
it is, get
deteriorate
deteriorate
further.
And you know, say, all of a sudden I'm under start one big giant Port Royal. Yeah, it's like the whole place now becoming like Port Royal. And Port Royal history is not being properly told to us, you know. The barbarity and the violence and the murder and the raping that was really part of that wickedest city. Now coming like we are the wickedest island.
Remember now, that the man who led Port Royal into the slime, a pirate named Henry Morgan
You
became,
mean Sir Henry?
yes, the pirate Sir
Pirate.
Henry Morgan. He became the emissary of the Queen
Yeah.
and Governor General. The
Yeah,
same thing like
same thing.
Mr. Patrick Allen, Governor
the
General,
Governor General.
of this country.
Holding the same post.
Same post, the post not change. Is that the people them don't wars, you know?
yeah,
I and I under the same rulership.
Same rulership.
For Mr. Sir Patrick Allen is a direct descendant
Representation, yes, of
of
Sir Henry
the
Morgan,
pirate
the pirate
Morgan.
Morgan.
Yes.
Yeah, metamorphosis. Exposing expose to the news.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yes. When you work until the side, still can't find no food for boil. What do you tell a hungry child? Yes. When the system no create no job, where you expect get on youth we have? Them we kill people and rob. Yes. When innocent life get burned, government no show concern. So who do the people turn? Yes. When the people hustle in the street, have to run from police team. Tell me now, when they pick me, I go eat. Feel like let it go, let it go. Yeah. Feel like let it go, let it go. Yes. When you give guns to mama's child and change up him old profile, I know blood run like river Nile. Yes. Tell me how the war a going.
The rapist man them. Them man they a live out a philosophical orientation that them see in the history of this country, beginning with all of the rape and murder conducted by the European upon the black woman in the land of slavery. And then now, you see, you can't miss the rape that go on the television show them, and in the movies. Almost every show have a rape. So there's a kind of glossing over of the rape business to the extent that these people who are involved in the rape and the pillage, what they're seeing is the glass. They're not seeing the immorality and repugnant nature of what they're doing to the development of a people, and more specifically to the royal status and the glorious position of a woman. What they're doing is they're destroying that tradition and leaving woman in a brutalized position. But please remember, I, Ras Wolde Makonnen, declare that the black woman was brutalized prior to this. And so it is not a strange position for her.
And we're going to speak a little bit as we go through further about the black woman herself and some of the struggles and the oppression that she faced from various levels, especially the Rasta woman, the woman who not only black and female in themselves, but trading Rastafari. You see the rape thing too? You know, the raping of a person doesn't happen only along the line of male to female. Because you have young boys who are also raped.
This I know.
Yes, by vicious men who have resources certain times and offering these so-called opportunities to these boys. And it's often underreported. And so the culture of violence that is here from the days of Port Royal, before the black people came here, before the black people were brought and enslaved, this island was considered to be the most wicked and violent island in the entire Western Hemisphere. And here we are in 2012. Have we changed much that culture of trickery, of deception, of immorality that governs this place? And as I was saying earlier about the Governor General, if he was ever to be harmed in any way, it is the Queen's forces that will probably come here to save him. So how much are we really on our own?
We remain dependent, in a state of dependency, my brother.
Well, I mean, I tell you. And you see, to conquer the rape and to conquer the violence, we have to begin to think more for ourselves. Self-reliance, you know. Self-reliance is part of the attitude that makes us proud of who we are. Dependent on ourselves. More respect for ourselves. What a long road, you know.
To conquer the rape, my brother.
Yeah.
To conquer the pillage, the murder. To conquer the state of moral degeneracy that has overpowered us. I and I, in the I own words, have to become born again Africans.
Yeah.
We have to let go all of the philosophies that have allowed us to enter into this insipid condition of moral degeneracy.
Metamorphosis.
Rolino, what's Pele now? What a beautiful goal from Pele! El Rey! The way that Maradona has been able to do. And he's helping England again here. This is brilliant run. It's one of the World Cup great goals. Set.
They get away first time. Tyson Gay right alongside Usain Bolt, but here he goes, streaking away already. It's Bolt all the way. He's looking round at Gay. Watch the clock. It's goal for Bolt, and again he's done it again. A new world record for Usain Bolt. They say lightning doesn't strike twice. The world belongs to Bolt. Berlin belongs to Bolt. 9.58.
Yes, the Olympians are coming home to be feted.
Make sure you can maintain it. Oh gosh, this rough old veteran. Watch out, I am a sprinter, stay a long distance runner. So why nobody try test me? Sprinter, stay a long distance runner. So nobody try test me. Watch it, I can lead it, hold on, or come from the middle of the pack, or even make a move from the back.
Yeah, this is sports. The way people play, the games that people play, big industry, a world almost by itself, the world of sport. Our Olympians we are being told will be fetted by the government at the cost of about $57 million. Yes, that will take place during the Heroes Weekend. They deserve whatever they have earned, and people must not underestimate the amount of personal sacrifice and pain that these athletes go through to bring what is called glory to themselves and to the country. $57 million, quite a bit of money, but you know, I guess it's the priorities that count. And of course, our Superman, our super athletes, they're home and they're relaxed, and the excitement will probably climax again as they are being feted for their great efforts, and of course we celebrate them. When we look at cricket, good results for the West Indies in the T20 tournament. West Indies found themselves into the final, overpowering Australia, and so they will meet the host nation Sri Lanka in the final. The West Indies, of course, were former champions at the Test cricket level. Of course, now we can't beat anybody at Test level, but we have reformatted ourselves to become the best, one of the best T20 teams. Hopefully now we can begin to construct a Test team. Two different versions, of course. One requires great concentration. One requires total flair and thing, and we seem to be better at that one. So we're going to watch the final and hope that the West Indies can use this as a starting point to recover their glory. Then, of course, you know, there is netball, and there is my complaint consistently that until a man coach a netball team, we're not going to rise above the level that we are at. It is gender discrimination that is holding down the netball team. That's what I man say. Yeah, Reggae Boys, World Cup qualification on the horizon. Very important game coming up with the Reggae Boys sometime next week, I think. Jamaica goes to Guatemala to play a most vital match. A victory will give us a space in the final group of 6. Anything less, it could mean curtains for the Reggae Boys. And of course, on that, following on that match, well, leading up to that match, an interesting thing happening locally. There's a young man from a football fraternity called Jeremy and Hugh. Jeremy and Hugh comes out of St. Thomas. Of course, heal all the people in Golden Grove and in St. Thomas, and heal all my ballers. Don't talk about it. Jeremy and Hugh is 34 years old now. He's a Harbour View. And at this point in time now, he has forced his way into the national team by public pressure, because the national team we hear has no creative player. And Jeremy now at 34, getting a shot. I think it's a sort of symbolic gesture that at this age now, he's going to produce World Cup level play. I am not so sure if it's going to be possible, but who to tell? So we welcome the news of the maestro being given a chance to play at the national level. At the Red Stripe level, Premier League, the coach at Montego Bay United, the Brazilian, he has just resigned. Team failed to win any games out of the first 6, and the coach, Dos Santos, says he cannot manage the level of indiscipline being shown by the ballers. Marconin, what do you think about the football in Jamaica? You think, sir? What do you think, Reggae Boy? You saying he really going nationally, or we just playing ball? How it look today?
You see the football business now. I believe that the level of the game locally and internationally has risen. And the present coaching the present cadre of coaching staff in the island, I think they are doing a good job. The only problem is this business of winning and winning convincingly. I don't know if it is a coach that deliver that capacity. And that is where we lack in. Winning consistently and convincingly. Yeah. So that, you see, when the team going out there, you're expecting a victory. Yeah. When our team go out, every Jamaican heart in a mouth.
Unsure.
Yes, because I and I not really sure what the end is going to be. And so at the end of the game, more time I and I in a state of shock when we win.
Yeah. Oh boy.
You know, it's like when Brazil go out for play, the people them in a state of shock when they lose.
When they don't win, yes.
Yes. So it's just a philosophy of victory. That is what need to be imparted into the players. And so far, I don't really see no coach that has been able to do that. You see the Brazilian René Simões.
Yes.
I man thinks that him did come the closest because it's like he was able to. Him did understand that winning is not really something that take place exclusively on the field.
On the player field.
It is something that was a part of the psyche of the players and the people.
Yeah.
A philosophy.
Philosophy.
Yes.
Well, what I am speaking of is what is on the nose. Because even when I speak to people about philosophy in coaching and football, it sounds as if I talk some eerie talk. Because they don't really understand the dynamics in organization and structure and strategy and philosophy as a ground word, as to what is the driving force behind how you express what you're going to do on the play field. So, as I say, the Brazilians don't expect to lose, but it's not because of the coaching only. It's the total infrastructure. It's the environment. It's the attitude of being a professional versus the attitude that comes with being an amateur.
And it's like, say, the football team is representative of a people.
True.
And the football team, can't afford to let down the people.
Yeah.
For the people now, the people is a part of the team, you know.
Aye. Because René Simões educated our population that the people are really the 12th player.
Yes, sir.
And it's the 12th player that is usually the player that provides that extra energy to make the thing go. You see, our football is also now the foundation of all that reggae boy talk and national team. Everything rests on schoolboy football. Schoolboy football, unlike club football in other countries, industrial countries, schoolboy football is a nursery for our club and national teams. Well, the schoolboy football is in a very high stage, both the Manning Cup and the DaCosta Cup. And within my region now where I function, I'm in the rural, and my base is in St. Thomas. And the station that we're functioning right now is in Portland. And so Portland and St. Thomas are really neighboring parishes. And within the Port Antonio struggle now, tomorrow is a derby. Tomorrow is Titchfield versus Compre. Traditional big crowd puller.
Yes.
And in the first round, Compre was successful. And Titchfield hoped that they will be able to, turn the tables in the return match. So there's enough excitement in Carter Park tomorrow. Over in my work now, I'm in St. Thomas. And my team, St. Thomas Technical, we are poised to enter the interzone round, but we need to be able to throw down a big ass tomorrow. There's a big ass in St. Thomas called Paul Bogle.
Okay.
And the objective is to decapitate Bogle the same way the statue has no head. It's only in football terms, though, you know. Football terms. So we're going for the points. And I want to heal up my side. I know that the people in Golden Grove are listening. I want to heal up Soil and Jumbo. And then now, we decide, say, we can't just call two ball and name, because the rest of them are going to feel that way.
True.
So, I heal up Sherbo. Sherbo, I'm a skipper. Where you up Dean, TD, Poplar, Tevez, Bignal, PZ, Nandi, Chamari, King Pele, Aquino, Ramon, Trevor, Devroy, Steely, Kelly, and Rael Power. St. Thomas technical team heading into the interzone round. Schoolboy football. A pure excitement in the brethren.
I man knows this.
Pure excitement,
True.
pure excitement.
I man remember the days of that schoolboy football.
Yeah, it's really school man, you know.
True.
School man.
Yes,
and
man.
it's really the most organized league in the island, you know. And I tell you, it's been running for 100 years.
Yes.
Schoolboy football.
And it is something to look forward to.
It is the greatest spectacle on the island
True.
for football. Attracts the most crowd, the most. And it's because there's a past student body that follow it up. It energizes it, you know.
True. It energizes the island. Man.
Yes, the funding and so forth. So I am saying now, our schoolboy football should be officially declared as our semi-professional league. Just define it as semi-professional.
Yes,
and
sir.
cut out the hypocrisy. And therefore, our school system now should be officially recognized as our factory for producing our sportsmen, because all our runners come out of the school system. All our cricketers, all our footballers, our table tennis players.
All the great ones.
All the great ones. Just that those who govern are hypocritical and think that this system of education is separate from sports. It is a sportsman that is bringing all the glory to the country. It's a sportsman that is earning the money. Yet in the school system, the sports is treated as a little leper.
Secondary.
Secondary for people who are dunce. So you see why the problem and the philosophy is hard to come together.
True.
It is conflicting, even at the level of the nursery. Metamorphosis, looking at sports.
You got to know who you are. You got to know what you're for. Yeah. Like a my, why should I stray? My roots and my culture are so me a go stay. Like a my, like who must I say? Martin Luther King or Marcus Garvey. Like a my, why should I stray? My roots and my culture are so me a go stay. Like a my, like who must I say? Martin Luther King or Marcus. Here's some phalanx out there who I really adore. Love money, guess, and that's for sure. We never had enough, and so they fight for more. They keep on pounding on the freedom door. Just not the same since they came. Black integrity, and they stood for the name. Arrive at the aim, though they never got the fame. Afterwards it came. Black am I, why should I stray?
Yeah, the metamorphosis going on here with Wilde Makonnen, Iman Blak in the studio of StylzFM. And I hit up Empress Valerie. Yes, up there in Springbank. No, we don't reach up there yet. Pure talk, me talk. Yes, but it's not so simple, you know. Maybe if you come down to the studio one Friday night. Yes, Valerie, you, me, I talk too.
Hold your ground and wear no frown. Totally will be here when that trumpet sound. Yo, keep that faith, don't you ever hate. Blessed is the meek reward.
Also hit up Last Man Tilly. Long time I don't see the eye. Yeah. Wanna hit up Jah Child. I hit up my son, Icon Dakai.
Why should I stray? My roots and my culture are so me never stay. Like a my, like who must I say? Martin Luther King or Marcus Garvey. Like a my.
Yes, Makonnen, the blackness that is I. You know, sir, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm going to call the evolution of skin pigmentation. Yes, we hear about evolution, meaning things going through transformation and change. But I want to look at the evolution of the pigment of the skin. Because you see, black people, no matter we doing overstand what the pigment is, you know. Yeah, we have it and we don't know what it is. It's the worst thing. If you have something and don't know is what, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, worst thing. No, the pigment of the skin. Before we even go any further, you know, The plants have a skin, you know.
See.
Plants have a skin. No, the skin of the plant is really green. It's like the leaf. The leaf is a skin, you know. The leaf is a skin. And why it is green is because of the pigment called chlorophyll that gives it that hue of green. In the pigment of the people, that is in the people now, because there's pigment in people. This pigment here now also goes through its own evolution through hundreds and thousands and millions of years. So the original pigment that is found in people is the black pigment melanin. There's no if and but about that. And I want to talk about now the evolution of that melanin, that blackness, because we have a set of people who we call Indians. And I'm saying today that the Indians are no different from the quote-unquote Africans, because what makes them similar is the pigment in them skin.
Pigment, true Rasta, man.
So we are pigmented people first, before we take on these identities of being Indians and Africans and Chinese people. So this pigment now, over millions of years, and climatic conditions evolve from deep black to what people want to call brown. And over more millions of years, that brown would evolve into yellow. So when you look into the people, we see yellow people, and we see brown people, and we see black people, but guess what happens? It's all pigmented people. So, but there are a set of people now who don't have no pigment. No, it's not me create this now, you know. This is how it is in nature. And we are told now that these people who lack pigment, them say it's a defect. It's a defective genetic condition. So, the people who lack pigmentation, the people who lack melanin in their skin, it's not because of the people who have it fault, you know. It's not the people who have melanin cause certain people not to have it, you know. It's nature at work. So, the Indian and the Chinese and the African share some serious properties and cultures. So I say, is white skin a part of the evolution?
Yes, white skin is absolutely a part of the evolution. It is more like a reverse evolutionary process, given that the original skin is the melanin intense skin. So that the further away you go from the high concentration of melanin, that is where you find the European, the white man. So basically, it's not that the man guilty of anything.
Anything at all.
It's just that his cultural, social, and historical development took place inside of countries where a good portion of the time was passed under climatic conditions that did not facilitate melanin development.
Production.
Consequently, him turned out to be a man without color. But you see, even the white man in his natural habitat, if you take him out and you put him in a land that is sun-drenched and you systematically expose him to the sun over a period of time, what you will find is that man develop color to the extent that him can even become dark skin. But it will take time.
I am saying no, that is the dark skin is not simply a production of the sun. The dark skin is a production of the pineal gland that creates the melatonin that makes the melanin.
Yes.
And I'm saying the Caucasian man seem to lack even the pineal gland. Metamorphosis.
Yes.
And then lacking that organ becomes difficult to create. But I and I have.
Not going to travel today.
Yes, that's what it said.
Neither
Yes,
cross
sir.
the ocean. Deserts are dry, water thirsty you. Too good to travel today. Neither to cross the ocean. Deserts are dry, water thirsty you. Kill you, kill you, kill you. Kill you, kill you. When it wet, it slippery. When it down, it cramp your belly. Don't want to see you on the ground. Don't want to see you on the ground. The ground, the ground, the ground. Caution, my brother, caution, take it. Black soul, you black as string. So black, so black, so black, so black, so black. I'm proud I'm black. I'm proud I'm black. I'm rejoicing I'm black. Who know black now go black again? Who know black now go black again? So black. My skin is black. So black. Oh, so black. Two more things for I to tell you right now. Two more things for I to tell you right now. Two more. My old great grandfather, great.
Yeah, listen to the haunting sounds of Winston Rodney, of how far forward he goes in his generation to define that he is black. Without any apology, without any shame. As a matter of fact, with a great amount of pride and consciousness. Not superiority, you know. No. Because we understand the self. We understand the need for harmony with the elements and the environment. So I'm not trying to conquer nature, you know. That is a venture of the Europeans. And I was trying to be in harmony with nature, which requires no conquering. So there's a whole different philosophical attitude, and a lot of it comes out of whether you are melanin in your pigmentation or not. The people of melanin in their state of nature is not of our genesis as those who are lacking in melanin. The people of melanin are also the people of the sun. And the sun people are different people from the people of the Iceland. So the Iceman different from the sun man. Serious. The sun is more in harmony with life. The ice is all about opposition. So you have to struggle against the cold when we are in harmony with the sun. Yeah, metamorphosis coming out of being deep in the skin. Healing Rastafari. Itinually. Yes, Makonin. Rastafari anthem.
And endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Africa shall rise. You know, six poor people will get wise. When I'm around with me again. King Selassie, endorse the ghetto youth, them make them well bright. Jerusalem shall rise. You know, six judge of people will get wise. Oh, the game up and down just like a yo-yo. Me smoke, me sense in me, I'm full jai the show. Babylon speed up, so me have to move slow. Them say me lack a knowledge, but me lack them with the flow. Them teach
Yes, as the metamorphosis comes into the final stages, Wule Makonnen. We heal Rastafari continually, and we healing the Rasta woman who has been the fortress. So yeah, I say no, because Rasta woman always seems to be on the side, and the empress always crucial within the relation. Or is the Rasta woman in Jamaica now? Or she got through? What's she up to?
Well, the Rasta woman is clearly the most proud, the most uplifted, the most beautiful woman in Jamaica and internationally in the
Other
world.
women don't feel no way now. It's just the truth.
Yeah, well, that is it.
Yeah, it's just the truth.
And I, man, speaking from my heart and truthfully. For you see, when you see the Rasta woman, you see the natural woman. You know, the natural woman after the order of creation.
Aye.
So that beauty is resplendently shining out forward. The harmony with nature is right there.
Yeah.
And that harmony allowed the Rasta woman to walk with her head upright.
You know, there's enough Rasta women feels enough Rasta man now deal with them right.
Well, yes.
Yeah, them feels enough of them, no man them now respect them and them, you know, like this group of mothers and thing, and them figure say them now deal with them positively, and them have plenty woman, and so how we go around that?
Well, you see, the whole thing is cultural, you know. And the Rasta man, even the Rasta man today, he is bounded inside cultural imperfections. The black man himself is struggling with his identity as a man and how even to deal with woman.
Serious thing.
You know, so
Serious thing.
the Rasta man is not in any way an exception to that rule. Is him himself now have to come to a full understanding that him have a responsibility specifically to the Rasta woman, for she stand up, you know.
Yes, I.
In the crisis.
In the Gideon, yeah.
Yeah, she stand up with the Rasta man and say, hey, I now go stand with Babylon. I stand with the IDM.
Yeah.
So the responsibility is to uplift that woman and to ensure that her status is first and foremost above all other women in this island and internationally.
Yeah.
But you see, according to the reality of the struggle of the Rasta man, it's like he must struggle with some little basic problems like finances.
Little basic problems.
Yes, little basic.
Like big money.
Truthfully. and more time is like, say, him calculate, say, without that big money, him can't provide the level of sustenance and support to maintain the ego position of the Rasta woman. So you see this thing called Rastafari, the religious and cultural aspects of it, is like I have to develop it to a heights and bring it to the level where it eclipses all other religion, morally, philosophically. I, the Rasta man, need to bring it forward to reflect the glory of the black woman, the Rasta woman.
It's a powerful and a strong woman, you know, because it's hard for a man stand as Rasta man, just being the male. When the female have a trad, Rastafari, which is African, which is deeply cultural, she is really reflecting the mother creation.
She's reflecting a level of independence that otherwise don't exist.
Serious. So, we're going to bring a Rasta woman in the studio very short to still in. Man, we have a... Well, we can't bring one, because we never talk to more than one at once. We never talk to 2, 3 women one time. So we can really over what's happening. Metamorphosis into the final stages. Yeah, all praises unto Jah Rastafari, and also giving praises for the presence of Makonnen. Give thanks, my brethren, for being
also
within the metamorphosis as we try to encourage our people to think, to develop the powers of thought, because it is thought that moves the mountain. We have been tricked about this thing called faith. His daughter used to live on the road. I used to check her name, Faith, you know. And I tell you, I know she will do it with. We must deal with thought. Recognize the power of thought. Even the Egyptian god thought. We are the writers, we are the creators. So, metamorphosis. Giving thanks to Jacko for surviving another session. Yes, and for all the people in cyberspace, people in the Caribbean and Africa, Asia, and North and South America, right here in the island of Jamaica, Port Antonio, Titchfield Hill, Bournebrook, Western Portland, St. Mary, St. Thomas, the whole world locked into StylzFM. I'm on Blak saying peace and prosperity within thy homes, prosperity within thy workplace, prosperity in the family, prosperity in your pocket. Makonnen.
Blessed is the name of the Lord God, Jah Rastafari. His Imperial Majesty the Emperor Haile Selassie, Jah Rastafari.
I Blak out.
This is StylzFM 96.1 on your FM dial.
For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, Native Audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound, Native Audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events